Yeah, that's what it is.
Hey, Ron, I'm actually. Hey, Ron, my name's Alex R., and I'm actually also one of the co-hosts. And I got to ask you though, because we're still, I guess, on the topic of, tragedies in wrestling and such. And one person that you worked with, when you were in the Nation of Domination was Bryan Adams, Crush.
Right.
I guess. What were some of your memories of him? Bryan Adams.
Oh man, God, man, fantastic guy. I mean, and we were speaking of like drugs and substance abuse, and then death as this goes in our profession. I know for a fact that Bryan, I've never seen him even take a drink around me, man. So, that just says that, hey, it's not always drugs and steroids that can cause death. I mean, that's going to happen, and it's unfortunate that it happens to happen when the death occurs in professional wrestling, that it gets blown up. It's because I can contribute a lot of it to being in the spotlight and on TV. But Bryan Adams was a very good guy. He was a very good talent. And I loved to be around him. He was very cooperative in everything we did, and as D-Lo knows, I can speak for all the guys that was in the Nation. We all got along well. That's why it was such a successful group, but Bryan, he was a very good guy, man. I love working with him.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. Now, I guess I'll ask a question here just to and guys, remind me to tell you a great Ron Simmons Crush Bryan Adams story later on when we have a little time, because you'll laugh your heads off. But I'm going to go from from one story to another. I keep bouncing back to the real world, and Ron, your alma mater of Florida State there is making a little news down here in the state of Florida. Now you've been placed on 4 years probation, and the entire university is going to vacate wins across the board, including 14 wins by your mentor, Coach Bowden.
Oh.
What's your feeling on that? Because
man, I really am, and to be honest with you, I'm really in shock. I cannot believe that, because having played under him, and I'm honestly telling the truth, it is not just because I played under him that I'm speaking up like that. I have never known Coach Bowden to even, when you hit him something dishonest and not being for the guys, classically putting their academics first. I cannot believe that would happen on his reign. I can promise you that it had to be something that, was just done totally within the other ways. And you can't watch other guys all the time. You can't watch student athletes all the time because, hey, man, even myself, as you might recall, I got in trouble when I was there, So there's no way that you can watch guys all the time. But I can tell you this, that it's unfortunate that it's happened, because I feel that it was a little unfair in the taking away that many games, and then the treatment that the NCAA put down on him, man. I thought it was a little harsh, if you ask me. And it just came too quickly. Didn't look like the investigation was long enough and lengthy enough for me to dish out that kind of punishment. 14 wins, man. Come on, that's a lot. And at this point, hey, and looking at the record as it goes, Joe Paterno looks like he's in no way, shape, or form look like he's losing any games anytime soon. So that's going to be an uphill battle there, and it's going to really hurt. And as far as when recruiting comes around, and as far as when championships rolls around, man, this is a very unfortunate thing, and I'm still in disbelief behind this, and I just hope that there's some way that with the appeals that maybe we can see our way out of this.
And that's where it stands now, Ron, with the appeal process. But if they go ahead and take those 14 wins away from Coach Bowden, he is currently 3 or 4 wins behind Coach Paterno for the all-time winningest coach in NCAA history. And with his advanced age, I don't see him catching Coach Paterno because I don't see him going anywhere. So do you think that might be a factor in?
Well, that's my point. Paterno looks like he doesn't have any plans on going anywhere soon, man. And as I can see it, to be honest with you, it's just no-win situation at this point right now, because unless that through the appeal, man, and all of this, is dropped and their status is restored, in which I don't see the NCAA doing that now, making a reversing their decision once they've made it. They haven't done that before, and I just see that there's no way out of this one, man, you know, and it's just unfortunate that this had to happen at this point, you know, and in his career, you know, and he's just a great man and such a fantastic coach, and I have nothing but praise for him, you know.
Yeah. So, you know, Ron, I'm gonna bounce around back to the Nation of Domination again, and have a question to ask you about one of the most famous members of the Nation. What is your thoughts on The Rock?
Oh, hell, he could have at least given me a bit part in one of the movies. That's my first thought, you know. after me putting him in the Nation and making him a member, man, you know. Hey, come on, help a brother out in this part, right? But no, I can't speak enough of him. Of course, you know, he's a fantastic athlete. First of all, he was a good football player, and he was is a very good professional wrestler, you know. And I think that, hey, he's going to continue to be successful in the movie industry, you know. And as it goes on, he's becoming a better actor, you know. So I mean, I got nothing but praise for him, man, and wish him nothing but luck, man. You know, he's a good guy. He and I got along very well, and we'll continue to. But I'm still waiting on that part in the movie, you know.
I'm standing in line right next to you. Guys, you got any questions for Ron?
Yes, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, I've got one.
Go ahead, Joe.
I know back when you were the Acolytes, even before the APA, you had a feud with Test. You have any what would be your memories on feuding with him back in those days?
Well, no, like I said, we didn't have any long going feuds when he and I were wrestling against each other. Sometimes it was just, a match might have been with some interference or something of that nature, and there was just a score to settle, but there wasn't any long-going feuds with him. But like I said, though, man, he really is going to be, missed. I mean, I consider him to be a good friend of mine. Whenever we worked together, we always talked, got along real well, talked about what was going on in the industry and outside and just the real world, man. I'm sure that there's a lot of guys that's going to miss him because, he was a great guy to be around, man, and, and just all around good person. And I really, and from my standpoint, is going to miss him,
Mm-hmm. Do you think that, I guess, because we're still in the depth, I guess, on the topics of wrestling deaths and tests in general. Going back to 1999, we had, the tragic Owen Hart incident where Owen, unfortunately died.
Right.
Do you think that the WWE did the right thing to continue the show, or do you think that they should have paid their respects or end the show? I mean, what do you think would have been the right decision in your opinion?
Well, you mean as far as the show continuing to go on at that time during the pay-per-view, if it was? Is that what you're speaking of?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it was that's a tough decision to make. You're in the middle of a broadcast, and I just wouldn't want to be in that position, to be honest with you, to happen to have to make that decision. But because you're there, you got 20,000 people there in the stands, then you've got millions of people that have tuned in. And it's just something, man, that it's kind of hard to, to say, well, I would have done that, I would have did that, and who would have done this, because we all react differently in situations like that. But you wouldn't have won either way that you would have gone. You would have gone to piss somebody off no matter which way you went. So you just could have flipped a coin on that one, to be honest with you, But I can tell you this, Owen Hart was a very good friend of mine.